We use powerful AI like chatbots every single day, but have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually going on under the hood? Well, in this explainer, we're going to peel back the curtain and deconstruct the incredibly complex systems that make it all possible. All right, so let's just dive right in with the big question. We've been learning websites and web servers for decades. Why on earth is serving a modern AI so much harder? Well, it all comes down to a really fundamental shift. See, old AI was stateless. You'd give it a photo of a cat, it would say, yep, that's a cat, and then it would completely forget the interaction ever happened. But new AI is stateful. It has to remember the entire conversation to make any sense, and that makes its workload incredibly variable and super unpredictable. And this whole new stateful world creates two huge bottlenecks in the system. The first one starts with a massive, massive memory problem. Okay, so at the absolute core of this memory issue is something called the KV cache. You can think of it as a short-term memory for every single conversation. The catch is, this cache gets bigger with every single word you type, and it just starts eating up gigabytes of really, really precious GPU memory. The thing is, in the early days of these systems, the way they allocated space for this growing cache was just incredibly inefficient. And that led to a huge amount of wasted memory, a problem we call fragmentation. Think of it like this. It's like a bookshelf that's just a total mess. You've got all these small, little unusable gaps between the books. So even though there's technically empty space on the shelf, you can't actually fit a new book anywhere. You're just wasting a ton of capacity. Okay, so that's problem number one. But there's a second, equally tricky bottleneck. It turns out a single AI request is really a two-speed process. And these two speeds, well, they totally get in each other's way. So you have the pre-fill phase. That's when it first reads your prompt, and it's a super heavy compute task. But then you have the decode phase, where it generates the answer one word at a time. That's all about memory speed. Trying to run them both on the same piece of hardware, it's literally like telling a sprinter and a marathon runner they have to share the exact same lane. It's just not efficient. So you've got this memory mess and this two-speed problem. What on earth do you do? Well, the solution, it turns out, is as elegant as it is powerful. Stop treating the system as one single thing and split it in two. First up, you have what's called the control plane. And honestly, the best way to think about it is as the brain of the whole operation. It isn't doing the hard math, nope. It's the orchestra conductor, looking at the big picture and telling all the other parts what they need to do and when. And then you've got the data plane. If the control plane is the brain, this is the muscle. This is the part that does all the heavy lifting. It's executing the neural network calculations right there on the GPU, optimized for pure, raw speed. All right, so let's zoom in a bit, let's look inside that brain, and see how this smart orchestration actually makes the whole system so much better. Just look at this list. The control plane is juggling a crazy number of complex jobs all at once. It's deciding which model should run where, it's routing traffic intelligently based on what the prompt is actually about, and it's even scaling up resources before they're actually needed. And this right here is where things get really cool, especially with auto-scaling. So instead of just reacting to a sudden traffic spike after it's already started, which causes delays, the brain uses predictive scaling. It actually anticipates the demand and adds more resources before you even need them. Pretty smart, right? Okay, so we've seen the brain. Now let's get down to the muscle, the data plane. This is where absolutely incredible optimizations are happening at the microsecond level, all to squeeze every last drop of performance out of the hardware. So remember that big memory fragmentation problem we talked about? That messy bookshelf? Well, that is the number one job for the muscle to solve. How do you stop wasting that precious, super expensive GPU memory? And the solution, wow, it's this absolutely brilliant idea called page detention. What's so clever is that it borrows a trick that the operating system on your computer has been using for decades to manage RAM. Here's how it works, and it's so clever. It takes that messy, growing KV cache and chops it up into small, fixed-size blocks. Then it just uses a simple table to keep track of where all those blocks are stored. It's just like how your OS manages memory, and it completely solves the waste issue. This means you can pack way, way more users onto a single GPU. Okay, here's another key trick. It's called continuous batching. Imagine you're on a highway, right? And one slow truck in a single lane can jam up traffic for miles. Well, continuous batching is like a super smart traffic manager that lets all the fast cars zip past that truck in the open lanes. It makes sure that short, quick AI requests never get stuck waiting behind long, slow ones. So, where is all this innovation taking us? We've already split the brain and the muscle, but the future is about pushing that idea even further to its logical extreme. And this is where we're at the cutting edge. The most advanced systems are now doing something pretty radical. They're physically separating that compute-heavy prefill phase and that memory-heavy decode phase onto completely different sets of hardware, with each cluster totally specialized for its one job. This table really tells the whole story of this evolution. We started with VLLM, which solved memory fragmentation with paged attention. Then came Orca, which cut down on those annoying queuing delays. And now you see systems like Disserve that are focused on maximizing real-world performance by completely separating or disaggregating the whole process. So when you step back and look at all this, what are we really witnessing? It's the birth of something new. It's a standardized stack, really, an operating system for inference. And it's all built on this core, powerful idea of separating the brain from the muscle. So at the end of the day, this incredible new architecture isn't just about making the chatbots we have today a little bit faster. What we have here is a stable, super efficient foundation, an operating system for AI. And that leaves us with a real question: what entirely new applications, things we haven't even imagined yet, are going to be built on top of it?